Hey everyone, I'm Jack Fossett, and today we're going to look at the Henry Amps ODLX. This is a handmade amplifier from New Jersey that's inspired by some of the classic, infamous unicorn amps that came out in the 70s and the 80s that began with a D. Still don't know what the rules are about that. You know what I'm talking about. So we're going to dive right in with some tone here. I'm wearing the team jersey. Let's check out the ODLX. We're going to talk about it a little bit, go through a bunch of different tones. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy. So this is a fantastic amplifier. I'm really enjoying this amp. This particular one that I'm playing is a 112 model. These are 50 watts. They're 6L6 based. This one has a Celestion cream back speaker. Things with Henry amps are customizable. He does have speakers that he suggests and generally uses, but that's, if there's something specifically that you want, you can always make them to order. The Tolex, as you can tell on this one, is custom. It's got the bright red with that kind of Marshall wheat grill cloth, really flashy looking amplifier, and this is just a superb offering from Henry amps. It does a lot, and it does a lot very, very well. It's got a slew of controls, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on with it. So first of all, we're hearing it today with a Les Paul Deluxe and a Fender Telecaster, kind of because Robin Ford is famous for using these amplifiers, and these are two guitars that Robin Ford uses. If you can't tell, I'm a huge Robin Ford fan, one of the best players and best tones, really ever, pretty much. It's hard to nail that Robin Ford tone, and this one does it really, really beautifully. It has a natural overdrive to it on its overdrive channel that kind of blends that perfect mix of, how like some amp drives can be a little bit harsh and grainy around the edges, but then some pedal drives can be a little too compressed and a little too plasticky sounding. That's a pretty broad generalization. Obviously, they're great amp drives, they're great pedal drives, but you know what I'm talking about, those characteristics that sometimes, you just go, oh, geez, I just wish this pedal sounded a little bit more like an amp, or, oh, geez, I wish this amp's drive was just a little bit more refined. Well, this one has a beautifully refined, it's kind of like straight in the middle. It just doesn't have any of those bad qualities that are sometimes associated with pedal drive or just amp drive. Really does it great on its own, and it's surprisingly versatile. This amp is known for the players that have used these famous amps. Robin Ford, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Joe Bonamassa, John Mayer, the tones that they're associated with tend to be within that blues rock realm. This thing will snarl too. This thing will get tones that really actually remind me very much of almost into a Marshall realm, which is odd for a 6L6 amplifier. But there's a lot you can do, particularly because of the controls again. So you've got drive and level. You've obviously got your 3-band EQ, and your 3-band EQ is very, very dynamic. You can dial this amp in a lot of ways. You've got a tube-driven reverb, which we'll talk about in a minute, and there's an input level which really helps you shape the character and the aggressiveness of the amplifier. If you want it cleaner and a bit more sultry, set the input level back. If you really want it to be more aggressive, set the input level up. You've also got a mid boost, and there's actually a secret bright boost. The high knob is a push-pull, and that gives you a bright boost, which can be really useful depending on what guitar you're using. If you switch from single coils to humbuckers and you need a little bit more top end, you can kind of pull out that bright boost without needing to adjust your other settings, and you're good to go. So just loads of things you can do. There's an effects loop in that clip with a Telecaster. The clean clip, you were hearing it with a Lovepedal Gen5 Echo into the effects loop. I've been really into Bill Frisell lately, and so I'm all about modulated delay all of a sudden until I get over it and then move on to other things. Now the reverb control is on the back. There's also a control for harmonic, and the harmonic kind of adds this musical depth and kind of a chiminess to the notes, and it's set different ways at different points in the video. It's a little bit more intangible than the other controls, but it does sort of change. It adds a little extra something if you use it, but if you don't use it, it doesn't necessarily take it away. I actually found the harmonic control at different times. I liked it, but then, when I pulled it back, it wasn't like, oh, it needs to be on all the time. It does a cool thing, but it also sounds good if you don't use it. So just like the input level or the mid boost or the high boost, whatever it is that you're doing with this amplifier, it's just another tool in your arsenal to get a lot of cool variant tones from a single amp. So we're going to dive back in with some tone here. We're going to start with a clean now. You've heard it clean with the Telecaster. We're going to try it clean with the Les Paul with that high boost pulled out. So you can hear how it has this really nice, there aren't harsh frequencies with this amp, which I absolutely love. The bass was powerful without getting boomy. The highs were present without getting shrill. Has that nice kind of woody quality to the tone in a bit of a jazzy way. Really great tones. So let's check it out with the Les Paul now with the high boost pulled. Now before we get back into some overdriven tones, I do want to show you the reverb. So we're going to try it now with the reverb turned all the way up. Now this is tube-driven reverb, really full and rich sounding. It's not quite the splashy, bright Fender reverb, but it's just a very present, very powerful, lush sounding reverb. So check it out with the reverb turned all the way up. All right, now I want to show you how much of a difference the input level can make. So we're going to try a couple of different tones with the Les Paul and different levels of gain and show you just how aggressive this amp can sound. Really, really powerful sort of amplifier, and you can dial it in a lot of different ways. So here are a few different drive tones using the Les Paul. And now I want to close it out with two different drive tones from the Telecaster, one kind of inspired by Robin Ford, and then for the last one I'm going to do just a great lead tone, again with the Echo going into the effects loop. You heard it clean before, but of course an effects loop really, you need to know if it works when the amp is overdriven. Well, the effects loop really works. The effect just kind of integrates into your tone without being warbled or messed up by the amp's gain. So check it out. A couple of last lead tones from the Telecaster. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I hope you've liked this demo of the Henry Amps ODLX. Really great amplifier. I'm totally enamored with this one. I'm just super digging the tones and the versatility of it. Let us know in the comments, do you have any Henry amps? Do you use one of their other models? I've demoed several others. I do want to mention this is a sponsored demo, part of a big project that I'm doing with Henry Amps, demoing a lot of different amps. However, my opinion is not paid for. These are just my general opinions, my thoughts on the amplifier. But let us know, have you had any experience with Henry amps? Have you had any experience with other amplifiers of the D style? Let us know down in the comments. I'm Jack Fossett. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.